one of my longest clients was Christal, a songwriter. And she's a Grammy-winning songwriter, has written for Beyonce, and Mariah Carey was the first big record that she did. The first thing for those people is they have to realize, and this is going to sound harsh, but the reason that the public is interested in you is directly related to the artist that you're working for. So a lot of times they feel I guess some kind of way because, well, I don't want to talk about this person in my interview. Well, that's how we got the interview. That's how we got it. So I think a publicist, you have to be very careful, but they have to understand that the reason that you're here right now is because you sang background for Beyonce. So you need to be able to talk about that, because that's really why people are tuning in. Now, while they're listening to you talk about your experiences on the road with Beyonce, we can sneak in some of who you are, and that's going to be great. But right now, we have to get them with this hook. And so they have to understand that. So when you get people that come to you, and I had a bunch come to me over the years, I've worked for X, Y, and Z, and I don't like them. I don't want to mention their names, but I want you to get me top press based on the fact that I work for these people. That can't happen. And if you go around bad-mouthing people, I don't care what the situation is, it's never going to reflect good for your career, because you're starting off from a negative place. And people are tuning in because of the negativity, not because of you. And so that doesn't last very long. So what you have to understand is those relationships, you're paying dues, and you need to be able to talk about that in a way that shows what you contributed to it. For instance, with Christal Nicole, the great thing about her is we could say, yes, she wrote Touch My Body for Mariah Carey. She wrote 24/8 for Mary Blige. She wrote Scared Lonely for Beyonce. There was all these different artists that had great hits based on her talent. So it showed it's not just, yeah, Beyonce has great records, but look who's responsible for writing on all these different people. If you have a person that's just done something for one artist, it's very difficult, because people could, the public doesn't understand, well, Chris Brown isn't so great, it's because you wrote his records. Well, all Chris Brown's records are great. Maybe it's not, maybe you don't matter. So you need someone that understands that and understands how to create an angle from that. And that person is always going to be involved in there until they get their own platform, and that takes a while.
I would imagine it might be easier to pitch for trades for certain people that are behind the scenes, as opposed to maybe some of the mass media.
If you have a specific, if they do something specific, like for instance with a songwriter, there are certain there are columns, there are certain magazines that have sections geared towards songwriters, and that's great, but 9 times out of 10 they don't want to be in those. Those are great, but then also you can look at different types of editorial pieces. For Christal, we would do, like, if there's a piece on, she would use her BlackBerry a lot. And so I remember trying to pitch a story to a magazine on how technology, was now a great part of, you kind of merge technology and art, because you have a songwriter that uses her BlackBerry to hum her scratches, and she writes all her records in the BlackBerry. So you have to look for creative ways to tell their story using those big names and to get people to kind of get to know their personality outside the box. I think that you just have to be really creative with it and find out what it is about them that makes them stand out from other people that do what they do. Also, they have to have an image. You can't. I worked with producers when I first started, and I'm not a star. I'm in the booth, and I don't like to do photo shoots. And if you want me to pitch you, I need to be able to have great pictures. They need to say something. People need to know who you are. They need to get a feel for who you are and your character from that picture. So they have to understand that even though they may not be an artist, they may have to do some things that artists do to get them that spotlight.